Hi, I'm Wayne Lack and I'm doing question 6 now of June 2013 AQA Core 3 Maths. So, question 6, apparently a lot of people struggled, and I think the reason is this very rarely comes up as a question in this sort of format. It very rarely comes up, and chances are you'll have done it in lesson but sort of done it quickly because of the reason that it barely ever comes up. So a lot of people overlook a few things and make silly mistakes, but some people did get it right. It's just a lot of people either skipped it or misunderstood or misremembered what they'd done in lesson probably once, probably briefly mentioned. So let's turn to the whiteboard and do question 6 then. So question 6, I wrote the actual question quite small because we're going to need a lot of drawing space. So A is sketch y equals cos to the minus 1 of x, where y is in radians, stating the coordinates of the points. So just a quick sketch in the corner. We know what the cos graph normally looks like. It normally looks like this, between 2 pi, and there's pi there, and it goes between 1 and minus 1 in the y. Well, we know that that's what the cos graph looks like, and because it's cos to the minus 1, you might think 1 over cos x, which is sec x, and you probably know what sec x looks like, so you might have been tempted to draw the graph of sec x. That wouldn't have been quite right in this case. Cos to the minus 1 does normally mean 1 over, but in this case it doesn't quite mean 1 over cos x. In fact, it's just one of those things, one of those graphs you sort of have to know. Sort of that section of the cos graph, I guess, flipped on its side. So it actually goes, the 1 and the minus 1 is now on the x, and it asks for coordinates. So 1, 0, minus 1, 0. And it looks just like the cos graph, it flips like that, and it goes up to pi here. And if you knew that much, you may well have been tempted to keep drawing up to 2 pi, like you normally would for cos. It's actually restricted to this domain and to this range. You should only draw that amount of this graph. That is the cos to the minus 1 graph. Now we're on to part B, and it says sketch the graph. This time I'm going to write it here. It's y equals pi minus cos to the minus 1 of x. So I prefer to write that as minus cos to the minus 1 of x plus pi in this case, just so I can think of the transformations that are going on, because now if you've got part A right, we can think about part B. It's still going to be between 1, 0, minus 1, 0, and pi. Okay, because it's not got a scale factor of x or anything like that, so it's not going to change the domain or the range. But there is some sort of translation and some sort of reflection going on. And if I draw it like this, I find it easier, because you know it's minus cos of x. It's not cos to the minus 1 of minus x, it's minus cos to the minus 1 of x. And when the minus is in front of the function of x, it means a reflection in the x-axis. Now, if we did imagine this keep on drawing it on, and we took a mirror and flipped that round, it would actually look identical to what it looks like here. So minus cos to the minus 1 of x actually looks exactly the same as cos to the minus 1 of x if you think about a mirror here, if it did carry on. But then we've got the plus pi to deal with. Now plus pi is sort of from this segment to this segment, we'd be going upwards, so we're sort of imagining for a second that this did go on a little bit further. We'd plus it up by pi, so it actually starts here now and goes the opposite way, like that. So it now starts at the minus 1, 0, and flips through to pi. It might have been hard to notice that the minus cos to the minus 1 of x actually made sort of no impact, because the reflected version looks just the same as that, and then the plus pi moves it up one, so it looks like that. Altogether there was 2 marks for part A and 2 marks for part B, so 4 marks for question 6 altogether. Like I say, a lot of people sort of omit this from their brain because it so rarely comes up in exam papers. It is important knowledge. I would advise you just know what the graphs look like off by heart. If you knew what cos to the minus 1 of x looked like off the top of your head, this one is just a transformations question. Your graphical calculator could possibly have plotted cos to the minus 1 of x for you, which is slightly cheating, but you know, that could happen. You could have done that. I would just remember what it looks like, and don't fall into the trap that cos to the minus 1 of x equals sec x, because it does not. They're not quite the same thing. That was question 6. Hope it helped. I'll see you at question 7.